Well, good evening. We'll go ahead and get started. Renee, please show all board members present tonight. If you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Next item is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes tonight? All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right. I think that was Ms. Perkins.
Yes.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Gilkey. Any questions, comments on our agenda? Ellen?
Just provide a quick one-pager here for you. Professional development, we conducted our first round of highly effective teaming and team leader training. We had approximately 80 teachers and administrators involved this summer, had 2 different sessions in June, and what I think was just so great about it is the evaluations of those who participated in it were just very, very positive. So, you know, it's really important as we're moving into something new. You want to make sure you make a good first impression, and the trainers came up out of Nashville. They were certified staff, and so now we have to keep doing the work to get everyone else trained. But very, very positive. Freshman Academy, part of the training were our Freshman Academy teams from all 3 high schools were able to participate in that training. That was one of the areas of focus for those individuals. And so they did a great job. They had a chance to work through the teaming as a team and develop goals and strategies moving forward. So I thought that was just very positive. I think the key factor as we implement Freshman Academy this year is that, you know, we want that focus on students and teachers connecting. That implementation, again, that was teacher and administrator driven, and I'm very excited about that. From a master planning perspective, we've been working with Star Herman, our coach from Fort NGL, over the phone, as well as Wendy Dant-Chesser from One Southern Indiana. You know, board, you remember that here. We're also part of that phone conference, and we're trying to get the master planning pieces together because we have a strategic plan as a district. We have an advisory, a college and career advisory, with about 80 people on it. Well, the goal is we don't want to revamp the whole process. We're going to use the college and career advisory that we have. Maybe not all 80 people. We may have to whittle that down. It was suggested about 50 people, but they have to make a commitment to have at least 3 meetings over the next 3 to 6 months. The goal is for us really to try to get the planning done by Christmas, because if we're going to try to implement the academy model 10th through 12th, the next school year, we have to get our scheduling set up in that way. If we can't get that done, if it's not working, we're not going to force it. But that would be our goal. And so we're looking forward. The goal would be to take a steering committee of about 50 or so. We're not going to turn anyone away. If they want to be part of the process, they can be part of it. And there's an operating board within that steering committee. And so those are like the executive team that's helping to manage the process. And so Wendy and our team here are going to sit down and have Star Herman from Ford, and we're going to talk about the people who we think should be part of this master planning process. Of course, there'll be board representation on this as well, but we want to make sure that we cover all of the different stakeholders in our community on this process. So we hope to have not only Star Herman from Ford NGL will be coming up and helping us talk a little bit about this process of planning, but also the Executive Director of Alignment Nashville, Melissa Jaggers, is coming up with her. And if you remember, the two sort of all under one umbrella is so the region is not just Melissa Jaggers will to help in the planning process of the alignment concept. So that was pretty awesome. So we've raised $66,000 for Ford NGL. We brought in $15,000, but we're trying to get, we're moving along and getting the work done, and I just wanted to update you on some of the big ticket items that occurred this summer. And any questions you have or comments?
I had talking to a couple of teachers yesterday and today about the team training this summer, and they were...
We want everyone to own what we're doing, and I think that training, I think we were all a little bit nervous initially because we knew how much was on the line when the Ford Nashville hub people just knocked it out of the park, and just very happy. That our teach those comments.
Dr. Millen, a couple of questions on Freshman Academy. It says on here it's connected to teams of teachers. So is that a geographic kind of connection? I mean, are they going to be sort of off in one end of the building? Is it just going to be
upon, of course, at new, but
so that's the desired state?
and also big part of the teaming process is the location would be helpful, but they're meeting regularly. They're meeting several times a week as a team of teachers, and so if you have a team of 3 or 4 teachers and they have 100 students assigned to them, you know, they're sitting down and they're talking about those students, and so how a student's behaving or acting academically or behaviorally in English, maybe the student's not doing the same things in math or science or whatever it might be. And so the teachers are talking about that student and what's working or what's not working. And so the whole idea is try to take these bigger schools and whittle them down into smaller teams so teachers and students can develop stronger relationships and rapport with one another. And that to me, I think, was the big highlight of this summer, is watching our teams of teachers work toward that end and get that organized.
Second question is, how are we educating the parents on this process? I mean, I see the brochure. I mean, does that go out to is that going, is it a mailing or?
I think another part of it too, Dr. Griffin, was part of the team planning the teams have engaged in, because the one thing I think I failed to mention up here was the fact that these teams not only went through training in June, but all 3 high schools had a freshman academy planning time in July. And part of it is developing this plan of how are we going to connect not just with the students, but with their parents. And it shouldn't just be any one person's job or responsibility. It should be everyone on the team. And so part of it is the team. How are we going to be communicating and establishing that level of communication with our parents? So as soon as we get those plans finalized for you, hopefully we'll keep you updated on that and bring that back to you and show you what's going on.
We'll move on.
Move.
An entry in the revenue of $626,685. So that was really the only big revenue piece that came in besides our state tuition support. Expenditures are still holding as is, and we're looking at about a $1.2 million deficit towards the end of the year. Once we clean out all the retirees, the people that have left, and added in the new people, then I'll be able to get better numbers for the last part of this year, and then we'll see what our deficit will look like for the end of the year. So that's the general fund. Debt service fund, you can see there we do have some activity now in June. We have excise tax, CVET, financial institution, and local option income tax. What's scary is we ended up getting more property tax than what I anticipated. That could be good. I hope it's good. Could it be that they didn't give us everything in December of last year, and now we're catching up? I don't know. I'm just keeping 3.1 million. On that. Institution tax. We did our about 2. Ending with a cash balance of about 1.2 million if everything holds true on that. We may be able to do some more projects towards the end of the year. Transportation operating, we received 2.4 million, and we were budgeting about 2.1 million, so about 300,000 more there. And expenditure-wise, we're looking at a cash balance of about 681,000 once we get through our expenditures. Bus replacement fund, we anticipated $586,000 in revenue, got $660,000, so about $80,000 more. We do our bus purchases, that's what we paid in June for $290,000, and our contracted services, so we're looking with ending with a cash balance of about $58,000. And rainy day fund in June, we added here to entertain any questions you may have on the cash flows.
We like that.
Yeah, that's a great report. I'm kind of befuddled right
Me
now.
too,
Like,
I'm afraid to say anything.
I like it when I get more money than I anticipate.
Really?
That's right.
And
Statue stayed on the Indiana Gateway system, so it's just for your information on that. These are just the big expenditures. Accounts, the big
Charlestown to all.
Interpol.
Dr. Dykle, Board, some time ago, you know, we had worked hard to try to create a new policy for parent organizations, and in that we asked for booster groups. They had to meet certain certain criteria in the policy. What they had to do was submit a monthly statement of revenues and expenditures to the principal, and they also had to submit an end-of-the-year report to Dr. Dykle, and that's happened. And you have a PDF that shows you all the different booster groups. Now, in my review of those, and Dr. Dykle's review of those, there's work to be done. In terms of some booster groups, there was an expectation of expenditures for the year, revenues for the year, and whatever cash balance. It should have been, some of them are exactly how we expected them to be. But that wasn't true for all the booster groups. So now we need to go back, and we need to have conversation with the principals of all those buildings, and we're going to build a template that the buildings will use, and when it comes to that final end-of-year report. So the reports stay consistent, and so you can look at every single booster group and see the revenues and expenditures for every different group, and that way it's not so complicated or convoluted. But we've never had to do this before. We've never done this before. This is the first time we've asked for this information, and at least it's a starting point, but we have work to do. But that information has been provided for you, and it's our goal to improve on that for next year.
All right, questions? Comments?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions and comments. This report is just so, the term is barbaric to me. It is, it's all over the place, and it just seems like that if board policy states that booster clubs had $2,500 came up missing from a booster club in our corporation, and you would hate to see something like that happen again. Money that could be used for kids, equipment that parents have worked hard for, to come up missing or whatever. And we've got to have accountability. We've got to, this is not acceptable to me, this type of record keeping, and some of them are, it's just 1 month of a financial statement. Some of them are a year and a half. There's no consistency whatsoever. So
I don't disagree with anything you've said. You know, we're going from, it's never been tracked before. To be quite honest, the dollars don't flow at all through our school corporation. We don't track them. They're not going to decide I'll be the treasurer, I'll open up an account at my bank, and now all of a sudden they rely on deposits and withdrawals to be the record of activity. What we've done now, after what happened at Jeffersonville High School, is we said, you know what, we're going to try to go and do better. Well, to how we wanted to read the information, but at the end of the day, all these different parent groups chose to give us the information in the way that they had already had it arranged. As opposed to instructed.
no, it states that the booster clubs must complete the application for a charter application for Greater Clark County Schools in order to be recognized and associated with an account. So in that application process, don't we have guidelines on how to keep your finances? Don't we have guidelines on how you must report monthly to the principal and you must report yearly to the CFO?
In the policy, it gives those specific instructions, but the actual application for adult support group, which is an attachment to the policy, gives the name of the school, to the application. So, you know, they have to know that if I'm going to start a new club, that I need to meet that policy expectation. The issue is almost all these groups that we receive these reports from have been in existence for a long time. And so we're going to have to totally change the culture. We went around and we talked to these groups, and we had a lot of unhappy people. That did anything wrong out in front of these people, and I had my team helping you guys. It was a delicate balance because we had to show respect to people, and hey, because of this we need to do better, but hey, we appreciate you, we love you, and thanks for doing so much for our kids. And so we'll do better. We'll do better. I don't know, it's a start, and And Dr. Dykle is tracking, he does his own audit of all of our extracurricular accounts. He's not required to do that. He does that. He does a great job of it. So, and it did. In addition to all of the that's yet another.
almost have a parenting. Thing that kind of goes along. Why? It's just because somebody else did it, and that's just what we have to do.
That's right.
So is this school system the responsible party full? Is it responsibility of the state? I mean, I'm a little ignorant. On this process, and
To decide whether they exist or don't. If someone screws up so badly, we could say no more. I mean, we have the rights to oversee and to make decisions. But these groups, for maybe decades, have gone unchecked. So for the first time, we're asking them, we want to partner with them, we want to help them, we want to work. Dr. Dykle answered calls about 501c3 status, tax ID numbers. I mean, we were working with groups to try to provide assistance to them as they were trying to meet the specifications of the policy. So ultimately, we do have the right to monitor. We have the right to say yes or no. If we think that expenditures are all, something's going on, or we have a right to intervene. We do.
so let's say that a couple $1,000s comes up missing out of an account, basketball, whatever. And obviously that becomes a big deal. Do we have any responsibility for that? I mean, it's really on the booster club to sort of self-police themselves. So we don't have any liability if $2,000 comes up missing.
No, what they do is, in the case that we had here a while back, was that obviously a police report is made, an investigation is done, and then if it is shown and proven that an individual absconded with dollars, that they would be responsible to make up that. Those things, you love these booster groups. Our school system could not function as successfully as it does without their support, to be just totally honest. So we're walking a little bit of a tightrope on this financial side of things, and we're trying to get them to do things a little differently, and sometimes that culture takes a little bit of time. And turn out the way we want. I'd like to talk to the principals, and with Dr. Hartledge's help and Dr. Griffin's help, we can sort of talk to the principals a little bit about what the monthly reports are looking like, because we've not gone into the weeds with that. So what I'm a little concerned about is, what are those monthly reports looking like too? So if we have to go that deep and say, okay, here's what the monthly report needs to look like, and here's what the annual report, so that the individuals can have a consistent pattern for how to track revenues and expenditures, to me, part of it is if I've been doing it in my checking account and I'm counting on my monthly statement, and I'm turning in my monthly statement, that might be easier. Well, is that the best way for us to do it for every booster group? Well, not every booster group does it the same way. So anyway, it's a big task, and we will continue to tackle it and make it better.
You know, one last thing. We have a board policy, and it's policy 9210 about parent financial report. What's required
itself, but every booster group got a copy of this policy, 9210. Every booster group got it. We met individually at every school with the booster groups. We shared the policy, we shared why, the rationale. You know, we did everything but hold their hand every month in terms of what are these reports and so on. So we need to get some help from our principals at the building level to make sure that they are monitoring this for their booster groups, because there are a lot of them. And then at a district level, we just need to make sure that the system for how we're tracking it is consistent. Throughout the year.
Most. It's how grateful we are that they volunteer. That has to be the first thing we do, and that has to be the most important thing. Now, we're going to ask you to change this, but we want you to know we couldn't operate without you. We have to say that, and we have to mean that.
All right, further questions, comments?
You're just gonna make them make fun of me,
Here, you want my glasses?
No, ma'am, mine are up on the desk. I just refuse to bring them down here. I guess I'll have to next month. Well, I had to look something, but anyway, more like Drew Carey. But anyway, this is the last quarter of the student clinic analysis. And board, it's the same thing that we've been reporting. The numbers continue to climb. They're gradual climbs. They're not spikes. They're not overall huge gains, but they are climbing. One of the things that we did today at Jeffersonville High School, we did do 30 student physicals out of that. The IHSA has changed the policy, and a nurse practitioner can do those, so we've been working with them. We tried to coordinate this a couple of weeks ago, but all of the nurse practitioners were on vacation at the same time so that they all could come back. So we've been working with them, and we will continue to do them at Jeffersonville High School, and then we'll offer them at Charlestown as well. And we'll also be allowing middle school students to come in to see them during the school day to have some physicals so that they can participate. So hopefully by that we'll increase participation. The last quarter, you'll see again 153 students that were seen, 72 new patients, almost half were new patients. But the other side of that is, out of that many, half were returning customers. So the services that they're getting, I think they are appreciating. We still continue to get very positive remarks and positive comments coming out of both of those locations. Renee, we show the final one for the year. That's just some bar graphs of the same information. That's the schools with the highest utilization. It's not a surprise. The Charlestown schools, because we're seeing more students, the numbers are greater at Charlestown High School. So, and then if you go down a little bit more, This one, and board, you'll remember, this is the first year, because what I was wanting to do was coordinate our half had land. Hopefully, we'll again.
Do you attribute the participant?
A little bit more convenient. I think it's pretty easy for those folks in the health office to say, we can just take them across the street, we can, and a lot of times they can just drive over and be seen in 4 or 5 minutes, where coming from a Parkwood to a Jeff is a little bit different. Same thing, we really see a lot more from JJ, and it's the same thing. The other thing we notice, some of our veteran health assistants in those elementaries, they do a good, they all do good jobs, and maybe they'll do a little bit better job sending them over. If they have a little better rapport with those families, they will send them over. I think it's just that tight knit with everything being pretty close there. And the other thing is it's kind of limited where you can take students in that area too. So, you know, the option, it's really a good option in that area. So we think it's attributed to all of those things. I think it's a little slow getting out of the game just the marketing, convincing folks to take them, you know, we are seeing an increase in utilization. We just need to see a little bit more of it.
Where is the sort of sweet spot to say this makes sense? You know, is that 50%? Is it 35%? I mean, what, you know?
That is a great question. You know, Teresa and I, we look at this monthly, and it's hard to say that you can say there's a percentage, because if you have the stomach flu, obviously you're not going to send those kids back. If you have a particular month where they're running, you know, a high grade or a low grade fever, you're not sending them back. It's hard to say, because we're really just dealing with what we get. You know, I mean, this is really not proactive medicine. It's dealing with what we get. So if, you know, if we see 10 or 12 kids that have stomach flu, we're going to send them home. You know, and I think that's the thing, is that finding the sweet spot on when to keep them or when to send them home. You know, if it's a low grade temperature, is there something we can do to get them back, or is that when we send them on home? I think it's those things, and I think it's a lot of times, you know, kids come down thinking maybe they're a little sick, and we can get them back in class, and maybe they just don't want to send that particular class or that particular day. So there's a lot of that we do as well. You know, that being a high school.
Well, yeah.
You know,
The other thing I would add to that, and Travis, if I'm wrong, tell me, but the way I sort of look at that, is that in a lot of school environments, most of the time, if a kid comes down, a lot of times, they're sent home.
If there's a parent
Yes.
that can greet them
Right.
or come and get them.
I just think that a big thing to me is that now these kids, wait a minute, I thought I could come down and I could be sent home here, and you know, well, wait a minute, I'm going to have to go see, or my parent wants me to go see that nurse practitioner, and I just think we have a lot more kids. When we have 400, they didn't have this clinic.
I probably should have asked that question a little differently. I'm looking at it from a cost benefit, you know. But at what point, you know, I forget what we were, you know, it's worth the investment. I mean, I know initially we had gotten some help to fund the clinic. I don't know if we're still getting that or not, but I mean, that's my point, is that it, you know, financially does it make sense? And maybe you can't put a number on that.
For the year, it was 48.
Yeah, and almost 20% of them don't have primary care physicians. Yeah. So to that group of students and parents, it makes a huge difference. That, you know, it's a cliche, but it's hard to put a price tag on that, but I certainly understand.
It might be something where we could try to do some kind of a financial analysis of it, because I do agree that, you know, we agreed. You remember the original cost was higher because we also, Charlestown High, and of course they serve New Washington. If you look at New Washington Elementary, students took pretty good advantage of the Charlestown Clinic as well. So Jeff, I think that's the conversation we've been having, is like, where do we start to make a decision? Not really about Charlestown and New Wash, because we think that clinic really is going in a good direction, but what are we going to do in that? So right now we're not there yet, but we need to do that analysis.
Well, I know we had talked about that when we first started up. After a couple of years, we would look at it and see if it made sense. And so I guess I was trying to figure out if we had gotten to that point, or if we're close, or, you know.
We need to do it.
We can do that.
I think the statistic about students absent came from home, 70 in the Charlestown area. I think that's very interesting there. Apparently, parents are looking at that as a great feature for that community, because there's no other place, I guess, to go, and we're providing a great service.
They're limited.
Yeah, limited, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for letting me share with you some. I did that earlier today.
We did that.
It's a wow.
Oh, I thought you meant. Okay. We were lucky enough through your support to offer the YMCA Power Scholars Summer Academy this summer for the first time ever. It was a 5-week academy. We recruited incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school students, and we were lucky enough to have 40 students enroll. We were really shooting for 60 or more, but we did know that a 5-week commitment is pretty substantial for a already shortened summer. For some families, a 5-week commitment is pretty substantial. We, as I said, began with 40. That first week we lost 3 or 4 students, ended the week with 36. the average enrollment throughout the course for our scholars, and we also offered a 90-minute math block. We had breakfast every morning for them. Aramark did a wonderful job of helping us there, and we also had lunch. After lunch, students had different enrichment activities offered to them, whether it be college and career awareness or physical activities. Each Friday, they were given, and this was cool, I'd like to have been part of this. One Friday, they went to Kentucky Kingdom on the Fridays as a field trip. They were also given, each student that participated in the complete program was given a Kentucky Kingdom pass by the YMCA, season pass, as a little added incentive, so that was pretty cool. Mr. John Santry was our teacher leader throughout the program. He did an excellent job. He stayed in daily communication with me. I was able to, my goal was to get over there a couple of times a week just to check on the students and make sure they didn't need anything. We did do a pre-assessment and a post-assessment using our STAR program. So we did a pre and post in ELA and math. We did see, of the, I told you 30 completed the entire program, there was a lot of summer camps, basketball camps, and things where kids left and came back. We did see a correlation that students who had attendance, I think it was of 85, 90% or higher, did show growth on the STAR assessment. So I think we had 15 of the 24. We had 6 students who did not take the post assessment, but 15 of 24 did show growth in either reading, math, or both. And so that's really the goal. As we talked in the spring about that summer slide that we discussed, students that just sit at home for 5 or 6 weeks do have regression. It's natural. So even if there wasn't significant growth, to not have any loss, we just think it benefits those students that are, maybe they don't have a lot going on at home. Mom and dad are both working. They're just sitting, I don't know, Pokemon Go can only be fun for so long, I guess, but we really want to boost the enrollment and try to target more of our students that need this support. I would like to thank, too, not only Mr. Santry, who did a wonderful job, Miss Jessica Moman and Patty Crotchett, who were our ELA and math instructors, and then we also had Tracy Morell and Margaret Habib that were our paras. We were staffed to anticipate 60 students, and again, that was our hope. We hope to, again, work with Miss Meredith Clipp, who was the YMCA youth coordinator. Really, Rodriguez, that's right.
And board, I'd just add, I had the great fortune of being at the end of summer recognition program. Supportive of one another, and you had kids coming from multiple schools, coming into that middle school environment, and that was really neat. I mean, I think the adults did a tremendous job, not just on the academic side, but on that relationship side. It was very evident that day. So it's definitely a program. I appreciate Dr. Griffin really going to work on this with the Y, and because this was not an easy thing to get organized. And for it to come out like it did was, for a first year, was great. So, good job.
Thank you. And I really think that part of what I would see, like Dr. Mellon mentioned, these students were referred to as scholars every day, every time they were boosted. It was a positive experience for them because it really needed to be. If you think about it, these are middle school kiddos. They could have stomped their feet and said, I don't want to go. And we had over 30 that made the majority of the sessions, and that's with wanting to go to basketball camps and football camps and various activities that that were offered over the summer. So,
Dr. Griffin, who were the parents responsible for transportation?
yes, ma'am. Parents were responsible for drop-off, pickup. We did offer because the program lasted from 8 to 3, but we also offered 3 to 6 child care. I think we charged $10 a week for that. The YMCA did, but any and all field trips, the really nice piece that it was free.
So how do we fund it?
We use summer school money in lieu of summer school, and the YMCA matched that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Thank you.
I followed Travis's nice, colorful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to move right on by that, it just, he wouldn't let me.
I came across a quote the other day, and I don't have my phone with me to actually read it, but it was basically at the end of your life, if you've made a difference in one person's life, specifically a child, then everything you've done has been worthy or worthwhile. And I just can't help but think about these students who improved, and who knows what that's going to lead to for them, as far as their academic success for the rest of the time they're with us. And I'm excited, and thank you for the work and the collaboration with the Y. I want to thank them for making this happen.
Well, thank you for saying that. We also want to, I think it would be good to track the students that did attend to see what sort of impact and momentum hopefully it carries throughout this school year.
Definitely.
And how many want to maybe participate next year.
Yeah. That's how you get more grant money, Data, data, data.
Totally.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next is graduation data.
Now this, only one page here too, I'm sorry.
And it's not even in color.
Of what our numbers will hopefully be. Close. Diploma types, sort of academic honors diploma or technical honors. Or both. Of over 98% of those students with a post-secondary opportunity in hand is something we're very proud of. The associate degrees, again, 14, and those came from Charlestown High School. We are working with Jeff High on different ways that we can entice students to want to pursue that associate degree there as well. The dual credits were well over 8,000, and as you already know this, but the dual credits equate to money saved for students and their families. So as you look at the estimate of dual credit, I've talked to Dr. I think it was about 13 million last year. The calculation because if I was, both fair and fair ourselves, so.
Can we, and I'm sorry to throw this at you
Yeah.
for the moment, I don't mean to blindside you. Could we get, maybe at the next board meeting, could we get, a statistic on how many of our graduates are 21st century scholars?
I'll be happy to do that, definitely. And give you a comparison.
We did recognize today, and I appreciate the board members who were able to come to the opening day session, but one of the points I made that I think we're really proud of is our middle school counselors enrolled over 90% of all eligible middle school students were enrolled in the 21st century program. The state average is 36%. To be following through, but it is a key to see of those 21st century scholars that we're enrolling, are they completing and earning? So that's a good point, and we'll start to track that as well.
Steve, are our number of waivers granted
Yes,
up?
yes, ma'am. Are they up?
Is that up about,
They-
what, 8%?
Yeah, I think that's about a little over 8%. Now, that's
Mhm.
right at the state average. And Dr. Mellon and I have had a conversation about that, too, of being very aware of and conscientious.
Our waivers at Jeff High were higher this past year than they've been in the past. You know, the goal at Jeff High is that it's something that we need to just look at a little bit more. You keep in mind that all of the Gordon Porter and all of the Clark County Middle High kids are Jeffersonville High School kids. So the waiver percentage will be a little higher at Jeff High because those students are also included. Now, there were Gordon Porter students that did not need a waiver, that did graduate. So I also want to make that clear. It's not so, but I think we need to have a better breakdown of those 52 students, those waivers, and just be more conscientious about what's happening there. That number is about 11% or just under 11% at Jeff High, that number of waivers. As I said, we want it definitely under 10 and preferably under 9 if we can get, and it's been there. A couple years back it was under 9 at Jeff High.
Mhm.
So somehow it's creeped up a little bit, and we need to figure out why. And the other, Charlestown and New Wash, you know, obviously
Be really proud of.
mhm.
Those numbers are included in the Jeff High numbers
Yes.
as well? Okay.
So that's why we need, so when you had all those students receive diplomas at Jeff High, some of them had attended all 4 years at Jeff High or whatnot. Some of them had attended at Clark County Middle High or at Gordon Porter. And so we do need to break that data down a little bit more and there were kids that earned their thing that should just be handed out like candy. I want to make sure everyone understands how clear that is. I think one of the things we could bring back to the table is what are those waiver requirements?
Yeah.
So we can bring that back to you so you can see it.
Does it still require signature of the language arts teacher and the math teacher?
Yeah, they need to sign off.
More good news. Those numbers look great.
All right, further questions? All right, let's move into consent agenda. We have 5 items tonight. I'd like to take those together.
Move to approve all items under consent agenda.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gilkey.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Kraft. Any questions, comments on consent? All in favor? Be 7-0, thank you. Ms. Kraft, can you take us through gifts to buildings,
Yes.
please?
And you see this enormous amount of money, $24,290. That's amazing. I've never seen that much in 1 month. I appreciate what the community is doing for us, and
Questions, comments? All in favor? Be 7-0, thank you.
Mr. Pape, if I could just also make one more mention, you know, a big 20,000 of that's from the Metro United Way, and that's the biggest contribution toward the Ford NGL program is from Metro United Way. So appreciate what they're doing to make that level of commitment, and we'll probably bring some of these individuals later to the table to recognize them in a more formal way.
2 grants. One is for $11,000, and that is for technology for our programs for children with severe disabilities, and that will also go for specialized equipment. And then the other grant is for $18,000, and that's towards the salary of a teacher working with children with severe disabilities.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
second.
And thank you, Ms. Kraft. Questions, comments? We'll take it. All in favor?
So too.
Be 7-0, thanks. Next is the River Cities Mentoring Consulting Services Agreement.
Yes, River Cities, which is Janet Turner, who was a former
Mental on the
care, which is a support system for children who maybe have some emotional or behavioral problems, that they need somebody to help the family coordinate services between all the agencies and provide a little bit of case management. They come right into our schools and work with the children, as well as go into the homes and work with the families. Very positive, we do. Just as a part of a large group of...
I'm sorry, Ms. Ullman. All right, questions, comments? All in
Indiana Code requires school corporations to provide opportunities for nonprofit organizations to offer a latch program. We awarded that to Communities in Schools to be our GCCS school-age child care provider for this school year. In that agreement, it provided a provision for 2 annual renewals. And just to give you some example, in addition to just before and after school daycare, they provide in-school tutoring for approximately 420 students. They provide center stone therapy for 289 students.
We have 321, which are volunteers who come in and read. In the schools and also provide the 21st Century Grant. And then our extended day learning, which is both before and after care, they open as early as 6:30 in the morning and remain up until 6 p.m. in the evening. That they serviced 409 students last year. Their rates, it's $70 children, it's $115 full-time, it's $65 for 1 to 2 days, $65 for before care only, and $100 for after care. And then they have a third tier for 3 children, $145 for full-time, $85 for part-time, $85 for before care, and $125 for after care. So we ask that communities and schools continue to provide the strong educational component to help support our students in their academic success, and we are thrilled with their partnership.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Gilkey.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Perkins, I think I heard first. Any questions for Dr. Hartledge?
So I just had one comment. The volunteers are down, and so if any of you feel the need to do that, they need to volunteer.
Talking about for 321 read, Mrs. Kraft.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we provide the background checks for the volunteers, free of charge. We do that. And it's done for, I think I read 421 volunteers last year.
But these aren't volunteers who do the before and after school care. These are
They are employees.
yes, they're
of
employees.
community schools, but our volunteers who do the 321 read. And they do have other volunteers for various things throughout the year.
Yeah.
But the school, the extended day learning, those are actually
To be in until, I had finished up. My work day, so I
serve as a member of their board, and they go above and beyond to secure additional grants and funding opportunities that come back to benefit our students in a variety of ways, as well as our teachers. So I can't impress upon you the importance of these additional services that our students need, and their families.
Breakfast and lunch price correction. Dr. Deichel?
Yes, the state of Indiana sent us correspondence regarding the setting of adult meal prices so that these are not supported by the reimbursable meals. So in order for our application for the National School Lunch Program to be approved, we need to increase our adult prices for lunch to $3.50 and also for breakfast to $2. So we're asking permission to raise those before the start of school so that our national lunch program is compliant.
Pretty important. All right. We have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins. And a second. Thank you, Ms. Ullman. Any questions on the increase in the lunch prices, breakfast and lunch? All in favor? Public comments on non-agenda items. I don't believe we have any tonight.
Only Tuesday. The keynote speaker was very encouraging, and had a lot to say to our teachers that was very encouraging. And then today we had our opening day ceremony. So I know there are a lot of, especially secondary teachers, after they get through their open house tonight, they're going to be dragging. So thanks for letting me come to those. I appreciated it. It was fun.
All right, thank you.
Ditto on today's opening event. It was very nice. Lots of new people employed, so we're looking forward to see how they're doing. And just a great way to start a new year.
All right. Ms. Kraft?
I have, we were just past that right now. This is a song that we need to read the words to again, and we need to think about this again. We could do that too. We could do that. This is from what the world needs now is love.
Students who are now becoming teachers in Greater Clark is pretty neat to see. And then the tech conference on Monday, inspirational and motivational, is neat. To get started, when was that? This morning, opening day, yeah.
Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
The caliber and quality of entertainment and singers, performers we have in our corporations is outstanding. So it looks like we're off to a great start.
Thank you.
I just want to recognize the fact that our corporation does something very unique. I don't know of any, maybe very few other corporations who are doing it in the state of Indiana, and that's our home visits. Saturday, I was out walking my dogs, and I ran across a couple of our teachers. They were like, well, hello there, Miss Gilkey, and they were doing a home visit. And so I saw that in action. And I just want to applaud all of our staff members who were come from. Welcome back, everybody.
We'll be ready no matter what.
I was hoping that was going to be your, and he was rated effective, and per the terms of his contract, he will receive another year extension.
Thank you so much for that vote of confidence. It's hard to believe 4 years are behind me now as your superintendent. I'm looking forward to year 5 and looking forward to all the great things that are in process and trying to continue to take the district to higher levels and working together with our 1,400 employees to make that happen. And I think that that's going to be vital for us moving forward. You know, all the work that goes in every summer when you prepare for the opening day ceremony and you start really thinking about what have we accomplished and where are we going. It gives you all the past successes, and also talking about the future focus and the challenges ahead. And the bottom line is we're all in this together, and no one person is more important than all of us working together. And the only way that we can do the work on a daily basis that we need to do for our kids, because that is why we exist, is all of us have got to work together to make that happen. So I appreciate your vote of confidence in me, and I'll continue to work hard to continue to earn that moving forward. And I just want to thank all of our staff for all the work that they do to get ready for the year, and all the work they're going to do to help our kids this upcoming school year. So thank you.
Good night.